ahead and remove the center cap. There's a little notch in here. You want to go ahead and just pop a screwdriver on in there and gently pry that out. Remove your center cap, set that aside. Using a 19mm socket, we want to go ahead and remove the lug nuts. With the lug nuts now removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the wheel and tire. I want to go ahead and remove your bolt from here. Our particular piece of hardware is missing, so if yours is there, remove that one there. Over here, we have two 10mm bolts. We're going to go ahead and remove these. I'm going to remove this one 10mm bolt right here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this bolt right here. There would normally be a 10mm bolt right here, but we had to replace it. And there's a 10mm bolt right here. We're going to zip that off. With that off, we should be able to drop this whole trim piece right down and remove it from the vehicle. Going to remove the cap on our expansion tank. And set that aside. Now up under the driver's side front of the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and drain the radiator. We're going to do so by opening up the petcock drain here. Have a drain bucket underneath to go ahead and catch your coolant. We have most of the coolant drained out. We're going to go ahead and snug up the plug right here. I'm going to go ahead and loosen our tensioner here and remove our serpentine belt. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to remove these two bolts right here. We switched over to a ratchet wrench here for clearance purposes. Upper portion of the air compressor unit for your AC, there is a single bolt. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this. Take caution that the air compressor will need to be supported and braced once all three of these bolts have been removed. Okay. Okay, using a small pry bar, we're able to loosen the AC compressor. I want to go ahead and swing that down. Now I want to go ahead and remove the two bolts that hold the water neck and thermostat. There's one 8mm right here and there's one up top. When we do this, we're going to keep the hoses attached. These are easier to remove once the water neck is removed off of the engine block. So let's go ahead and start by zipping this lower bolt out. You want to have a catch can underneath the vehicle to catch any residual coolant that might be in that part of the vehicle. Okay, we get that loose. Once I broke that bolt free, you can spin them right out by hand. And go ahead and remove that bolt. I'm going to go ahead and separate this here. Remember, have your catch can there. Let's go ahead and remove these hose clamps. Now we're going to use a small pick to try and work our way around this hose here and loosen it. That the larger hose loose. We're going to go ahead and work this off. Once again, be aware of any residual coolant that might be in that lower hose. Let's go ahead and get this other hose loose. Go ahead and work that smaller hose off. I'm going to take our inner O-ring, line this up like so. We'll go ahead and take our thermostat, and it has a little notch in it right there. It also has two little holes right here. Those are alignment holes for the dowels or plastic pins here. Line this up. Go ahead and press that down into place. Next piece here is this seal. Line that up, work your way around the perimeter. And there you have it. I'm going to install our water neck and thermostat. Now initially we removed the water neck and thermostat with the hoses attached. Both of our hose clamps were damaged, so we switched over to a regular screw style band clamp, and we'll show you that in just a minute. It's going to make it easier for us to install in the end. We're just going to get these 3 bolts started. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down to 7.4 foot-pounds. And do this for all 3 bolts. Go ahead and put our upper hose on here. Push that on. Now with our new hose clamp, we can go ahead and snug that down with ease without having to get any clamps or special tools in there. Now to prevent this tab here from interfering with the other hose, I'm just going to bend that up and out of the way like so. Then we can go ahead and grab our larger hose here, and we'll just twist it around and pop that on. Slide our newly replaced hose clamp on there. Let's go ahead and tighten that down. I'm going to go ahead and remove our bungee cord that was supporting this unit up and out of the way, keeping the pressure off of the lines. I'm going to go ahead and swing this up into position. Then we're going to get our two lower bolts started first. Once these two are started, then the upper bolt should self-align. And then we'll go ahead and get that one threaded in up top. With all three threaded, we can now go ahead and tighten them down. I'm going to go ahead and torque these three bolts to 18 foot-pounds. Repeat for the other two. Now we can go ahead and get our belt lined up. I'm going to go ahead and bring that tensioner up, get our pulley popped on, or our belt onto the pulley. Making sure that the belt is in all of the grooves of all the components we need it to be in. And then we can release that tensioner. Go ahead and line up our under engine cover here. We'll go ahead and get our 10mm bolts started. Now we're just going to crank those in a few threads by hand. We're not going to tighten them down yet until we get the lower bolts installed. And go ahead and install our bolt on the side right over here. Put this one in here. Let's go ahead and tighten this one down. And we'll go ahead and snug these two down. Go ahead and install your wheel. I'm going to go ahead and get our lug nuts all started by hand, and then we'll snug those down. I'm going to go ahead and torque the wheel lug nuts down to 98 foot-pounds. Now, if you have a center cap, you want to go ahead and make sure that your lug nuts line up with these ports right here. Snap that on. Let's go ahead and get a funnel in there. Now on the tank itself, it says fill cold. Now you're just going to go ahead and top off the system with whatever the recommended coolant is for your vehicle. So fill this to cold. Go ahead and start the vehicle, check for any leaks, and at that point there you should be good to go. Once this is filled up, you want to go ahead and put your cap back on, seal it up. You want to set up the vehicle, let it warm up to operating temperature. You never want to open up this cap once the vehicle has gotten up to operating temperature. You want to make sure that the temperature of the vehicle is cool before you open this up. This is a pressurized system.